What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. With 2025 being the 35th anniversary of the Stephen King and Rob Reiner classic Misery, I thought what better time than now to look back at that film and see what makes it so great.
You almost died. You have a compound fracture of the tibia in both legs, and the fibula in the right leg is fractured too. And as soon as the road's open, I'll take you to a hospital. In the meantime, you've got a lot of recovering to do. There is nothing to worry about. You're gonna be just fine. I'm your #1 fan.
Directed by Rob Reiner, the movie focuses in on author Paul Sheldon, who is famous for writing the Misery books. He gets caught up in a really serious car crash while trying to head home during a snowstorm. He is rescued and nursed back to health by Annie Wilkes, who happens to be Paul's #1 fan. But Paul soon realizes that Annie has a dark side that's going to really come out when she reads Paul's newest book and is not too happy with the ending. Now, one of the main things that really gets me about this movie is Rob Reiner's directing. What Rob Reiner does so well in this movie is making you feel the suspense and really putting you in the shoes of James Caan. The feeling of suspense and dread in this movie is unlike no other film that I can think of. Every single scene, you feel like danger is right around the corner. One scene in particular, when Paul is given a wheelchair by Annie, and Paul kind of sends her out to go get paper, but is really trying to find a way to escape the house. You see him go all throughout the house, and this whole time it cuts in between Paul at the house and Annie driving back. The scene is set up to think that at any second, Annie is going to walk through the door and see Paul out of the locked room. No matter how many times I have seen this movie, and it's been a lot, I always think in a sliver of the back of my mind that Paul is going to get caught. And that is just masterful directing. Another thing that I feel like he does so well is paying homage to Alfred Hitchcock, especially the opening, where there's a lot of lingering shots on different props in the movie that are going to make themselves very relevant in the second and third portion of this film. And it is so fun going back after the first time you've seen the movie and picking up on those kind of small details. And you really can't talk about Rob Reiner without mentioning the kind of string of hits that he was having at this time with movies like Stand By Me and When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men. He was really untouchable. And along with Frank Darabont, I think they are the two best directors at transferring the essence of Stephen King from book to screen. One thing that really goes hand in hand with the directing in this movie is the music. The composer to this movie, I feel like, does not get enough credit. Mark Scheinman really has such amazing cues that really match up to the scenes. There are so many parts of this movie where Annie will start out a scene very happy and kind of professing her love for Paul's character, and something sets her off. And it is so heightened by the music and that score kicking in with the violins and the kind of that sense of dread that is building, almost like a snowstorm. I just love it. And as I was writing for this review, I kind of went back and was listening to his score, and oh, it is just absolutely amazing.
What do you think I say when I go to the feed store in town? Oh, now, Wally, give me a bag of that effing pig feed and 10 pounds that bitchly cow corn. And in the bank, do I tell Mrs. Bollinger, oh, here's one big bastard of a check. Give me some of your Christing money. There, look there. See what you made me do?
You cannot talk about the movie Misery without talking about some of the amazing performances. We know how amazing James Caan and obviously Kathy Bates are, and we will definitely get to their performances. But one thing about this movie that I feel really makes it are the supporting characters. Richard Farnsworth, who plays Buster, the sheriff of the town, is so lived in, and you really can get behind this character. As a matter of fact, he is probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. This could have been played as the comic relief, as a kind of goofy, out of touch, older kind of sheriff character, but he really plays this character with such merit and such professionalism that you just love him. He feels like your grandfather that...
I'm sorry, we seem to be having some technical difficulties.
That no matter what, he is going to dedicate himself to getting this case solved. And Lauren Bacall is amazing in this movie for how small of a role she has as Paul's publicist. Say that 3 times fast. It took me a couple takes. She really adds, like I said, so much to this film, and you could tell if she was left out or was portrayed by someone else, there'd be such a big kind of hole in this movie. Now, James Caan was absolutely fantastic in this movie, and I feel bad for him because I feel like he is so overlooked when it comes to amazing performances in this film. What he's able to do for the limitations that he has, I mean, he acts pretty much in this whole movie either in a bed or in a wheelchair. His facial expressions, his kind of physical acting cues are so amazing in this film. You cannot talk about amazing performances without mentioning Kathy Bates, who plays one of the best horror villains of all time. Annie Wilkes is drenched in Stephen King-isms, which that sounds very, very gross when I say that out loud, but she feels just like a character coming alive from the pages. And what Annie Wilkes is able to do, playing 2 sides of this character, the very nice, caring nurse, and then also a psychopath serial killer, but she does it so well. Performances like Toni Collette's in Hereditary are still overlooked. I feel like she rightfully won the Oscar for this performance, which was huge at the time, was so and how so to this day. And it's so crazy to think how many actors and actresses were looked at before James Caan and Kathy Bates. Pretty much any actor that was around at this time was considered for the role. But I believe, along with everyone else, if any of the 2 main actors in this film were replaced, this film would not be the same. Guys, if you have not seen Misery, I highly recommend it. It is one of my favorites. You will not be disappointed. And I'm sorry, I guess I spoiled the movie for you. But still check it out, even if you know what happens. If you guys could, if you've gotten this far in the video, maybe leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of it, what you thought of the movie. And if you're ever so grateful, a subscribe would help me grow so much. That is it for me today, guys. I love you all, and I will catch you next time.